Thank you for listening to the BJJ Brick Podcast. We'll be bringing you Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and good times. We hope to flatten your Jiu-Jitsu learning curve, help you get the most out of your grappling ability, and meet your goals both on and off the mat.
Welcome back, my friends, to the BJJ Brick Podcast. This is episode 58. Today we have the interview with Amanda Loewen. She's a newly belted black belt under Matt Thornton, so be a lot of good information coming from her, and it was a really good interview. Gary, good to have you back. You're back in the studio today.
We're in the studio, ready to go.
How's your training been going, Gary?
It's been going good. Trying to heal a bum knee and a bum calf, so I've been taking a little easy lately.
Just don't become a bum yourself.
Yeah, well, I already am a bum. So it ain't
full-time job bum.
Full-time job.
Family man bum. Okay.
Yep. How about your training?
It's going good. You know, I don't know if I think I maybe got 3 times this week. I mean, it's pretty average, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was actually telling you just before I got 5 times this week. That's a big week for me. I was pretty happy.
Hitting it hard.
Yeah, and I canceled this morning, so I could have really had. Well, I consider Monday the start of the week because that's the work week.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. I'm with you.
Yeah. Oh well.
It's a good week.
Yeah, good week.
I've been doing a little bit of study and training, but actual training. I think I got 3.
And you've been watching.
I've been jogging and playing racquetball and stuff too.
No, actually, that's great.
That's good for the cardio.
Yeah, I mean, really, I feel like sometimes if I do too much jiu-jitsu, my body takes a little bit of beating, where if I'm out riding my bike, playing basketball, racquetball, it still allows me to work my heart, be active, burn calories, and not hurt my body as much.
When was the last time you played racquetball? I'm looking for another racquetball buddy.
That would have been in college, about 1987.
You played college level, huh? That's pretty impressive.
I didn't play college level.
Full scholarship at racquetball?
Yeah. Do they have those?
I doubt it.
Yeah. Well, I did play handball in prison.
Yeah. Gary volunteered his time and played sports with the inmates.
Definitely, basketball.
You're a brave guy.
Yeah.
So, anyway, we got a great interview coming up with Amanda Loewen. Gary, let's get on with our quote of the week.
What do we got this week, Byron?
We've got a quote from Caprito, who was our last week's interview. So we'll go ahead and roll that.
I think Spider-Man.
We like Spider-Man.
Great. I like superheroes, Great power. Spider-Man uncle, actually. Great power comes with great responsibility, Once you become owner of the jiu-jitsu knowledge, a knowledge what you can hurt somebody really bad. You can, even kill someone. You're responsible for this person. So when you go to the mat and training, you're responsible for your training partner. You have to make sure he don't gonna get hurt and you don't gonna get hurt. So you have to keep him. Be selfish. I tell this sometimes when people laugh. Be selfish. Training with that guy you don't like. Actually, you hate that guy who trains with you all the time. He beats you, and you don't like him, and you wish to be able to put a bullet on his head. You really hate that guy, but he's your best training partner. So what you do? You're going to break your toy, or you're going to keep your toy running well and keep using your toy for longer.
Point.
Keep your toy running for longer. Don't hurt that guy. There's no reason in the training you hurt somebody. I'm not telling you to let the guy go when you have a submission, but, there's no need to yank somebody's arm. There's no need for put somebody to sleep who already tapped. There's no need to, put the pressure on the floating ribs, knowing you can hurt the guy just for hurting him. You need jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu is an individual sport, but you need partners. You're training as a team, as a group. Don't hurt your opponent. Be wise with your power. great power comes with great responsibility.
Yeah, that's
Uncle
cool.
Ben. Uncle Ben, right? Is the uncle of Spider-Man?
Yeah. That's cool. That was Caprito doing a Spider-Man quote, with great power comes great responsibility.
Words of the wise right there. But I like really how he talks about it. I mean, we have a skill that we can hurt somebody. I mean, in all reality, we could cause death to somebody. And not to make it sound...
Some of those wrist locks are deadly.
Yeah,
they're
definitely.
out there. No, yeah, with a choke or something. Yeah,
I mean, really, a choke. You could kill somebody, and as Byron said, the wrist locks can be deadly if we breathe through our wrists. But really, you got to be careful with what you're doing. And he brought it into more of a team aspect. You need to take care of your teammates. You need to make sure that guy. He's your training partner. You're only going to get better by having great training partners. You need to take care of it, and also the new guys. New guy wants to come in there and just get brutalized and choked unconscious, have his arms, both bent backwards, get heel hooked, on both legs. The person's never going to come back. I mean, besides that too, we want to promote jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I always think when he said this, I was thinking, you get the guy that just won't tap. Okay, he doesn't want to tap. First off, it's not acceptable to hurt your training partner. He's not going to tap. Maybe not even try a submission. Maybe just work on some position. Or if you want to try one, go for a choke. Yeah. And that way, at least he won't get hurt.
Yeah. But, I don't know, I sometimes look at it as a two-way street.
Yeah.
It's up to both of you, the
That's
offensive
true.
And defensive guy.
Yeah.
The defensive guy has to tap, when there's no way out. I mean, still, like what Caprito said, like he was saying, I'm not saying not to tap him, but like, what do you do in that situation? You have a guy.
I give a guy maybe a month or so to kind of figure out that this is not.
But let's say it's after a month.
Yeah, I say, hey man, it's okay to tap. This is serious stuff. It will hurt you. People are not doing the techniques against you because they know you're not going to tap. Nobody here wants to armbar you because they don't want to hurt your arm. So. You need to be a good training partner. We're not in here competing. We're in here training. Be a good training partner. Yeah. When you get caught, and move on. It's not a big deal.
I've had people where
that's tough.
I have the arm totally locked out, and there's no way they're escaping either. I may have a pant leg, may have their leg, so they can't hitchhike her out.
Fistful of their hair,
which I always use. But man, I've had people who won't tap, and I don't want to crank it. I just let them out and then switch into something else. But I really think it's a two-way street. I think that it's both people have a part in that.
Yeah.
You have to be nice to your partner and not hurt them, but then the other guy has to have that gentleman's agreement and say, hey, you got me. I'm going to tap.
Yep, I think you're right, Gary. Let's before we get to the article, we got some good stuff coming your guys' way.
What do we got, Byron? This is a surprise.
How is your guillotine right now, Gary?
My guillotine could always use work.
Mine too. I like my guillotine, but I saw our buddy Roy Marsh made a guillotine. He did a guillotine seminar and filmed it basically, and he put that up online, and you could get that. And it's not like a typical instructional video. It is them during a seminar, so you get questions by people that are wanting to know the same questions you're wanting to know. You get the same detail. So show that again. They show it again. So it's really cool. A lot of good information. But I called Roy. Hey man, how about give us some cool tips?
Yeah,
some little guillotine tips. So the next few weeks we'll be sending you guys a couple of guillotine tips. So here's Roy Marsh giving you a tip about how to do about guillotines.
The thing I talk about with any submission is in order to really get good at the submission, you have to master 3 areas. And that's 1, attaining a position that you can execute the submission from, maintaining the position correctly, and executing the submission correctly, obviously. For guillotines, probably the biggest one we'll talk first is attaining the position. And that's basically just getting his posture broken down. Everything in guillotines is about posture control. Everything in jiu-jitsu, of course, from the guard is about posture control. But what I want to do is get his posture broken down or recognize when it's already broken down. And for me, that's anytime he's looking down. And really what I mean by that is anytime he brings his chin to his chest or his back rounds, so that I can recognize that from the top or the bottom, that if he hunches a little bit, he brings his chin down, that's when I'm going to start hunting the guillotine. That's going to be attain the position. And I can do that from either pulling his head down or if he curls up into me when I'm passing, that's basically doing the same thing. He's rounding and he's bringing his chin forward. And that's when I'm going to start hunting the guillotine.
You got to seize that opportunity to get that guillotine.
Yeah, and I mean, I think a lot of times people think, hey, I've got the guillotine, I'm good at this. But yeah, Roy really breaks it down. I mean, really, what's your first step? Posture control. If you watch the seminar there, you see he has a whole little area about it. And not he spends time, breaking that posture down. How to not basically get the posture control first, really, before you start going for it. I think sometimes we probably put it the other way around. Everybody's going for the submission before the posture control.
Yep. That is Roy Marsh. We do have an episode with him.
2 episodes with him. So if you want more from him, you can check those out. But if you're interested in the guillotine specifically, we'll put a link to the guillotine seminar in the show notes and on the website and make it easy for you to find. It's 105 minutes long. It's a $20 price tag, which is cheap. I mean, if you were to go to a seminar, it's only going to be $20. Yeah, it's cheaper. Yeah, definitely half price of. More than half price of a seminar, basically. And I can tell you for myself there, I've already watched it 2 or 3 times already, and I've picked up a lot of stuff from it.
Yeah,
so,
a lot of cool details.
Yeah, and I'm still, I don't know, I watch it and then I go through it really slowly. Like I'll just spend the time working on the first part. I'll spend a couple weeks on it. So this is probably going to be a 6-month process for me till I totally get through it. But I spend a little bit of time on every little piece.
Yep, it's easy download. You go there and it's available for you, $20. You put it on your computer, on your tablet or smartphone, whatever is easier for you. So check it out. We'll be giving you guys more tips as the time goes on for guillotines by our friend Roy. So Gary,
thank you, Roy.
Yep, absolutely. Thanks, Roy. The music is telling us that it's time for our article of the week. This week we have an article from 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu San Mateo, or 10th Planet SM.com. It's advice for beginners competing in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So, the same advice for anybody, really. It's just sometimes you learn it earlier on and it helps you early on, and sometimes, like, some of these things you never get. You're always going to be nervous.
Yeah, the nervous part.
Good advice.
Everybody,
good advice.
Everybody always asks about the nervous part. The adrenaline dump, and it's just something that's probably going to happen. They
have 6 basic tips here. The first one is to be prepared, and that's not just talking about training hard every day and getting ready physically and with your techniques, but like be on your weight, and have your travel planned out. You don't want to be stressing about plane tickets right beforehand, or how you're going to get home. If you're going to hitchhike all the way home, have those car stops ready for you.
Yeah.
And have work covered, so you're not stressing about work. You're not getting that phone call right before your match that the work is going crazy.
Where are you at today? You didn't take the day off.
The second thing that they have here is to be patient. Sometimes you show up for a competition and you're rolling in an hour, and sometimes you show up for a competition and you're supposed to roll in an hour and you roll in 8 hours later. Be ready.
Yeah. Well, I took one of my buddies down to his first competition, and we showed up late. So we needed to be a little more patient.
The advice they give is don't pace around waiting like a non-wounded cougar, in the bushes or whatever. Be patient. Wait.
A non-wounded cougar?
Yeah, you always say like a wounded cougar, don't you?
Yeah, but the non-wounded cougar probably... Well, I guess it could be patient if he's hungry.
Yeah, don't pace. Okay. Be cool. Okay. But
I think Byron's trying to make fun of me on air.
Yeah, subtly. For the people that listen to more than a couple episodes have caught your wounded cougar.
Tip 3. Remember, it's normal to be nervous. Everybody gets nervous, and so it's normal. I mean, think about that guy across from you on the mat. He's just as nervous as you are. So, he may even be more nervous. Don't
let being nervous make you feel like you won't do good, or that you just shouldn't be doing this. Because like it says, it's normal to be a little nervous. Yeah,
it's normal. It's going to happen.
Should you lose control of your bodily functions? Not that nervous. Don't be that nervous.
Because you're going to be all over the internet. We don't want that. Number 4, tip 4. Get plenty of sleep the night before you compete. So don't be spending the whole night out. At the hotel bar. Or, going club hopping. In the new town. Save that for the night afterwards. When you got the trophy or you just competed. That's your trophy right there. But just relax. Get a good night's sleep. Even if you're unable to sleep because you're nervous, at least be rested.
Yeah. You can't always make yourself go unconscious.
Yep.
And it's time to go to bed. But you could always wake up with your body been well rested.
Yeah, definitely. Number 5, be a good sport. Remember when we were little and our dad would always tell us that, when we played YMCA baseball. But it goes for, this sport too. Be a good sport. Whether you win or lose, shake the other guy's hand, shake the ref's hand. There may have been a bad call. Big deal. Just chalk it up to next time. Make sure you're so far ahead that bad call is not going to make a difference. Yeah. Be respectful.
The number 6 thing they have on here is there's no losing, only learning, and that's hard to hear when you lose. But it does say if you get hurt, that's kind of a loss. Like you don't get hurt. Play. It's okay to tap. Don't go into saying I'm not going to tap. I'm not going to tap. I'm not going to tap. If you get caught, you get caught. But it does also say it sucks to get eliminated your first match.
Yeah.
To travel, to train, to do all this stuff. One match, you're done. That's kind of
though you've actually told me something that I think makes sense. And realize that out of all those people who are going to the tournament, there could be 1,000 competitors.
Yeah.
500 of those are going to lose their first match.
Yeah.
So don't think you're the only one. It's going to happen and it's going to suck.
Yeah.
But what's it mean? You got a bad draw. You maybe. Who knows? You made a mistake, but, it's learning.
I'm reminded, probably the best way I've heard that broken down was by AJ Agazarm, and he said that your tournament is not the time on the mat. The whole experience is your tournament.
Yeah.
We're talking about, being at the tournament, watching people train and watching your friends roll.
Driving to the tournament with your friends.
Absolutely. Yeah. Whether it's plane or drive or whatever, that's part of the tournament. Getting ready. You're training months before. You're cutting the weight. This is all your tournament experience. Like the
going out to eat minutes, afterwards.
Yeah, having a good time.
Yeah.
Having that bonding experience with your team. Yeah. That's your tournament. It's not the minutes you're on the mat competing.
Yeah.
So remember, if you lose your first match, your tournament was not that entire match. Your tournament was so much more. You trained hard and you grew more than you would have with your jiu-jitsu before the tournament started. So,
and I was thinking of another one, but I guess that probably goes under number 1. Be prepared. Make sure you know the rules. Rules vary.
Yeah.
So definitely, make sure. Is it a submission-only tournament and you're not even going for submissions? You're just racking up points and you realize that those points didn't count. So, definitely make sure you know the rules.
Yeah, that's good advice. Yep, be prepared.
Yeah, definitely.
Know the rules.
I think it's time to get on with our interview.
All right, here we go. All right, my friends, I'm happy to introduce Amanda Loewen to the BJJ Brick Podcast. How are you doing today, Amanda?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm happy to have you on the show. Recently read an article about you, or I guess I read an interview about you, and it was surprising how fast you've been able to make progress in the sport of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So I contacted you, and then here we are. So I'm happy to have you on.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
If somebody hasn't heard of you yet, could you describe where you're from and kind of a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm Amanda, obviously, and I've been living in Portland, Oregon for the last 7 years, originally from Fresno, California. So I've just started training jiu-jitsu in 2009 at Straight Blast Gym under Matt Thornton. So I hadn't had any previous experience with jiu-jitsu or martial arts. I had originally just worked around the corner at a tropical fish store and would walk past every day and kind of wondered what they were doing. So I figured I might as well check it out. So that's how I got started.
Really, you just seeing the gym there, you just walked in one day and that was it, huh?
I did, yeah. I had originally thought they were doing karate, and then I figured, I was like, well, I should probably just start some karate too. And so on one of my days off, I walked in and the first guy I talked to was Chris Stearns, and he was super friendly and nice, and told me that it would be awesome to have another female in the gym. And so I went in, scheduled an appointment, took my first class. I got armbarred, I think, 1,000 times. And then out of pure stubbornness, I decided I would come back and hope to eventually armbar those same people one day.
There you go. Sometimes the first class is a little bit rough, but it sounds like everybody was nice to you.
They were pretty nice. Everyone, Kane Prevost was my first instructor, and still to this day I love taking his classes. He's an excellent coach at the gym, and it was a little bit different a few years ago than it is now. We have awesome beginners classes, but I don't think that was a beginner class that I took, but it was good.
What got you in the door, if you could remember people walk by martial arts gyms all the time and don't ever go in. What was the big drive there?
We have a big giant roll-up door, and so summertime, we always keep it open. So that's when I would walk by, and I would just kind of stand outside and watch what they were doing. So that was definitely the biggest kind of pull is, I could watch, I can see what was going on, and then, like I said, just figured I'd muster up the courage and go into the door and get started. Cool.
Well, glad you did. You think if it was a karate place, you'd have done karate instead? You said that's what you thought it was?
Perhaps. I don't know. I mean, I was,
you really didn't
pretty,
know.
I guess, ignorant to the whole martial arts scene because I had never heard of jiu-jitsu before. I had never watched MMA before. I just knew that I wanted to get in shape and I wanted to, be able to fight, but have it be in a fun way. So
cool.
I'm glad it was a jiu-jitsu school and not a karate school.
And that, yeah, it'd be a lot different, I guess, in the long run.
It would definitely be a lot different. Yeah.
So you started in 2009 in August. When did you get your black belt?
This year of October 18th.
October 8th. It's kind of funny. I received my black belt in October of this year as well.
Really?
So.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you. That's kind of funny. We got it the same month, but
how does it feel?
So far the same.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels a little different, I guess, but it does feel like I didn't think about becoming a black belt until I got that brown belt, and then I'm like, oh, I guess it's next. But other than that, I still go, I roll, I have fun. You competed quite a bit before you, as a brown belt, didn't you?
I tried to compete as much as I could, especially up here in the Northwest. It's really, really hard to find female competition, so I have to travel a bit more. And unfortunately, I flew all the way to Boston and tried to compete at the Boston Open, and there was not one female signed up for my weight class or for the absolute. So I was pretty disappointed.
Wow,
so
that is bad.
I wasn't able to actually compete, but I did get some good training at our gym over there with Steve Whittier and his crew. So that was pretty awesome. And then I think I competed quite a bit as a purple belt and as a blue belt. But I did do Worlds in 2014 this year and placed silver. So that was kind of neat.
Well, that is cool. That's quite the accomplishment to compete at that level at a brown belt that quickly, and then get promoted to the black belt. So that's really cool. You've been, I could tell you've been working really hard, a lot. What's the main reason why you've been able to get up to the black belt level so quickly?
I don't know. I maybe not entirely sure. I really, really enjoy what I do, and I don't think about the belts that much. I just know that I wanted to train all the time, and I wanted to compete. And I think the only way to do that is if you're learning and you're having fun on the mat every time, and not taking your training so seriously, in a sense. I understand that, if you're a professional fighter, obviously you want to take it seriously, but you also need to be able to have fun and learn at the same time so that you're constantly kind of auto-correcting your mistakes. So I think that stuff is pretty important.
Cool. So what do you do off the mat to have fun or relax?
Oh, boy. I have 3 dogs, so I'm constantly kind of hanging out with them. We go to the park. I really enjoy riding my bike. Other than that, I love reading fantasy books, and that's about it. And going to the gym some more.
Yeah. What kind of dogs do you have? Just curious here.
I have 2 Rottweilers and a mutt.
That's a lot of dog.
It's a lot of dogs.
2 Rottweilers.
Yep,
I don't know how big the
dogs.
mutt is, but the Rottweilers are pretty big dogs. That's cool. Those will keep you busy.
They are, yeah. They're sweethearts.
Could you describe your style of jiu-jitsu?
Basic. I don't know if I necessarily have a style.
Do you prefer like a top game or a bottom game or either one? Or?
I love passing and I love playing guard. I think I would like to consider that, myself as being really hard to sweep. So I have, really good base, and I have an excellent defensive game on bottom. So hard to submit because I was there for so many years on bottom. But I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think a lot of people should, develop a nice defensive game before they start working on all those fun attacks and stuff. So that's what I did for a lot of years. It's just
you think that
work on
helped?
my defense. And,
you think that working your being almost forced to work your bottom game for so long, it helped you when you actually started becoming to get top game to understand it better?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, because if it's just kind of reverse engineering those positions, all the things that I don't want someone to do, with me on bottom. I'm trying to break those frames and that posture down so that I can attack better when I'm on top. So.
Do you prefer gi or no gi, or does it matter?
It doesn't matter to me. I don't have a preference. I train in both every week and switch it up. So I think it's important to practice, all aspects of the game.
Cool. What's your schedule look like as far as training and teaching?
Oh, man. Let's see. Like I said, I train and teach 6 days a week. Saturdays are my day off. I usually have some split shifts. Wednesday, Thursdays, I think, are my heaviest days as far as teaching, just because I'm there from, usually 8 a.m. till about 8:30 or 9 p.m. I lift and do yoga about 3 days a week, along with cardio and stuff. So I do that Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. And I teach anywhere from, 2 to 7 classes a day. And then I just try to train in between.
Wow. You are busy with you're doing everything. You're doing cardio, lifting, yoga, jiu-jitsu, gi and no gi. Do you think that how does the training other than jiu-jitsu, like the yoga, the cardio, and the weights, how big of an impact does it have on how you're able to perform?
I think it's super important. I don't necessarily lift, super heavy weights just, to get stronger. I do it to try to keep my body in line, to keep my, my muscles and my joints strong. I have kind of, maybe not the best knees right now. So I do, a lot of squats and a lot of deadlifts, and I also think that translates into really good posture when I'm doing jiu-jitsu, especially, trying to pass the guard and all that kind of stuff. You always want that excellent straight back posture. And then yoga helps kind of stretch all that out and come back to, good, standing up posture versus laying on our backs all the time, crunched up. So I think all those things are important to do on a daily basis.
Do you have an order that you prefer to train in? Like if you're going to do, not so much teach, but if you're going to go to a hard training session, would you rather do yoga before or after the class, or lift before or after, or does it matter to you?
Well, in the mornings, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I usually lift, and then I'll do yoga, and then I'll train again. So I'll do my weights, and then I'll do yoga to kind of cool down and stretch out, and then I'll start training.
Do you notice that when you don't do those before you train, are you much different, or does it not really affect you?
It takes me a while to get warmed up, so I definitely think those things are beneficial before I go into a training session. Especially, I've noticed if I don't do yoga consistently, then my body starts to feel a lot more tight, and I don't move as well. So it's important for me to do that at least 2 to 3 times a week.
Cool. I think for me personally, I it's just so much fun for me to do jiu-jitsu. I get drawn away from other activities because it's not as fun to lift. It's not as fun to go do my cardio or to do some yoga. So I'm consistent with my jiu-jitsu, but I'm not as consistent with other things. But I think I would tell myself mentally, like, hey, it's going to help you do better at jiu-jitsu, then it's a little bit more motivating for me to do those other activities that help me get better.
Yeah, that's true. And, I tell myself, I'm like, okay, is this going to keep my body intact a little bit longer? Then I should probably do it. So I also, run the women's boot camp at our class, at our school. So I kind of, make sure I'm doing weights with them and stuff. So that motivates me if I have other people to work out with, because it is, I don't know, to me, pretty boring lifting by myself. So
yeah,
if I'm doing it with other people, it's a better activity.
When you started at Straight Blast Gym, was there very many other women, or were you one of the only ones?
There was a couple others. Since then, they don't come as much. But I was definitely, one of the only females. And then I think a year later, one of my friends and training partners now, Leah Taylor, moved from Montana to Portland, and so she's been one of my most consistent female training partners. So that's been really nice to have her at the gym.
Cool.
But nowadays, there's a lot more women doing not only jiu-jitsu but boxing. So that's it's been really cool to see them come up in the ranks and to enjoy it so much.
Yeah. So you recently got your black belt. You're teaching a lot. You're coaching. What are your goals that you have?
My goals are, I definitely would like to compete a lot more. Just because the level of competition now is just ridiculous. There's so many fantastic women to compete against, and this is it. There's just going to be more and more coming up in the ranks, and then those women that have just been consistently holding world titles and stuff. So I'm excited to eventually be able to compete with them. I just found out a couple days ago that I'll be going to the European Championships in Lisbon, Portugal. So
wow.
I'm really, really excited to do that in January and eventually, go over there more often and go check out our gyms in Ireland with John Kavanagh and Manchester with Carl Tanswell and all of our other little affiliates. So I'm really excited to do that. And then hopefully if I rack up enough points, then I'll be able to qualify for the World Championships in 2015. So winning that would be awesome, but I'd just be stoked to get some excellent rolls with women that I've never rolled with before.
Cool.
Another goal is just to become a really, really good coach, a better teacher every time I teach, because that's really important to me. I'm not going to be able to compete forever, but I want to be able to roll as long as I possibly can and share my information and knowledge with others.
What have you learned about coaching that you feel really has made you a better coach than you were a few years ago?
Everything that I've learned has been from, my head coach, Matt Thornton, and Kane Prevost, and Rick Davison, and Travis, and all the guys, John Diggins, all the guys that are at the gym. They're constantly coaching, and I'm always, taking classes and learning things from them. And I think it's just patience and always making jiu-jitsu seem really exciting and new and awesome, so that people are they always want to come back for more. And like I maybe mentioned in the beginning, I don't teach a bunch of, crazy fancy stuff, I think. It's more so just fundamentals and basics. because those are the, things that people are going to use anyway, instead of, all the crazy YouTube stuff that, they could always look up later on.
Yeah, I agree. It is the basics that win competitions, and it's so easy to be just tempted into watching like endless hours of like fancy, cool new things and this and that, and it's kind of fun. But in the long run, it's your basics, it's your fundamentals that will get you to win your matches and get you better at jiu-jitsu.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the gym is, in a sense, it's my laboratory. That's, those are the times when I'm not, if I'm not competing, then I don't have to play my A game, so I can experiment a little bit and figure out what works. But, when it comes down to competing, you only have, what you consider your A game is, and that's all you're playing all the time is that. And so it's hard to, go out on the mat with someone that you've never competed with and try something brand new. So I'm only going to rely on those things that work, which is, posture, pressure, and then, possibilities. So those are the things that, like you said, they work and they're consistent, and I'm all about consistency.
I talked to Matt Thornton a while ago for an interview, and he mentioned that he likes to keep things as simple as possible when he explains them. Do you have a similar coaching style? Yeah. I think he is a phenomenal example. I mean, like I said, I've taken several coaching classes with him, and then Kane Prevost, who I think is one of the best in our organization as far as like being able to break things down to like the simplest like aspects of them. So I try to copy them in a sense so that my teaching can be as simple as possible. Cool. And earlier you did say that you want it to be like exciting and fun, and that's a big part that I think sometimes the coaches miss. Like if you show me, how you do an armbar, and it's simple, it's effective, but it's like a little bit different, and it's like, or maybe a little detail I didn't catch before, or something like that, and you're able to explain it in a exciting way, that I'm going to remember that, and I'm going to think about it when I go home. I'm going to remember to train it the next day, and I think it's important to have that little bit of that spark when you're teaching something to help people get motivated and to train harder and to keep getting better.
Yeah, I completely agree. So, talking nice and loud so that everyone can hear you. And then we have a particular way of explaining things when we're teaching. We try not to do too much talking so that the students can get, as much out of the hour class as possible, right? Because no one wants to hear me talk just for a straight hour about a technique, and then they don't even get to do it. So less talking and, more introduction and drilling, and then isolation is important for them.
How would take me through like a class that you have, like warm up and then you teach one technique, 2 or 3, or how's the class look like for you?
Classes, it depends on the class that I'm teaching. So we have kind of, I suppose, different levels of classes. So we have our foundation program, which is basically our beginner program. So anyone that comes into this class is going to learn an absolute just basic technique. So we have a certain curriculum that we teach. So, for example, yesterday was Thursday, and so Thursday morning I taught foundations class, and we went over just a basic head and arm escape. Okay, and during that period of time, we just go over what we call like an introduction stage. So we don't have very much drilling, if any at all, and all of the students in there are super cooperative, and they understand what they and their partner should be doing because it's explained really well. So I tell them what we're going to be doing. I show the move. I explain, go over a few mistakes that people tend to make, and then they go out and they try to move back and forth, and then we'll bring it back in, and I'll pair it with something else. So they'll have at least, 2 to 3 options to do if they, for that particular escape or move, and then, we'll eventually, it depends on the class, but, we'll add resistance and, all that kind of stuff.
Cool. that sounds like a good way to learn. And it's good to have the options because oftentimes the first thing that you try does not work. So it gives you something else to try.
Yeah, so, I'm sure my coach, Matt, talked about, our 3 I's, which is introduction, integration, and isolation. So it's important to be able to kind of do a move without a bunch of resistance, right, so that your body can get used to doing that, and then you integrate it, and then you isolate that particular movement so that you can get some real feedback, right, which is, part of drilling. But if you're drilling and you're not having any success, then and you're just failing all the time, then you're going to be really frustrated. You're not going to be able to get it. So it's important to have some success and some failure.
So that isolation stage would be like starting off kind of with the move, like starting off in that headlock, trying to do that escape, and doing that some reps with a live opponent. Is that correct? Okay. Cool. That's the 3 I's method. He did mention that. I remember that. That's a really good way to teach things.
Mm-hmm.
Can you think of something that you've learned or kind of came to understand since you've got your black belt that you didn't think about before?
I don't know. I feel like I'm constantly learning stuff and kind of figuring new things out. But I think the biggest thing, because, obviously getting my black belt wasn't up to me, it was up to my coach.
Yeah.
And I definitely didn't feel prepared or ready for it. I still don't, but, it's just, I have to tie the belt on and wear it. But one thing that, my coach has told me, and then, my husband, John, he's just like, you have the rest of your life to be a black belt. So I was like, oh, that's right, I do. I have the rest of my life, I'm going to be a black belt, and can only get better, as, obviously as long as I keep training and stuff and just doing what I do is just stepping on the mat and training and having fun and learning new things and fixing, all the mistakes, and you just keep going. There's no difference. If I was, still a white belt, I think I would train just as much as if I was now. So
yeah,
that's important.
Except for you wouldn't stay a white belt because you'd be training all the time. But yeah, the motivation wouldn't change for you, and the enjoyment of it.
Yeah, definitely.
So what do you do before you step on the mat to compete, to get yourself ready mentally or physically?
I'm the worst. I get really, really nervous all the time before I compete. But recently I've been kind of trying to do something new. So I try to go to like a gym, whether it's a 24-hour fitness or something, and get really, really warmed up there so that my body's already just like a tiny bit tired or used to, all those movements before I step on the mat. And the last couple times I've done that, I feel really, really good and always warmed up just enough. Sometimes I'll listen to music, but I would prefer to stay out of the stadium as long as I possibly can until I absolutely have to go in.
So you just have
all those people.
Do you have somebody that contacts you that you're getting ready to come up, or you just get the time earlier in the day and you just know that that's going to be when it is? Or
usually they'll post the times during the day. I had the unfortunate experience of going to Pan Am's before Worlds this year, and I got disqualified for not being early enough. So I was there on time. My bracket hadn't started. I saw all the girls that I was supposed to compete against, but they disqualified me because I was not early enough. So
wow.
That was incredibly disappointing.
How early is early enough? That seems...
It seems a little crazy, right?
Yeah.
But I guess they had posted something on the website that I didn't check, saying that you needed to be there 30 minutes prior to the scheduled time. And I was there on time for my call time, but not early enough. So if they had happened to change the time and called the women early, then that's why. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
So I try to stay, even if I'm not inside, I try to stay right outside of the
close
school
by
before I go in.
Wow. Oh yeah, that'd be very disappointing. But like you say, it is what it is. You move on and you keep training and keep competing.
yeah, I mean, most of those girls had to deal with me at World, so that's what it is.
Do you remember your first tournament?
Yes. It was a sub-league here in Oregon, and I think I just did no gi, because I don't know if there was a gi division for the women, and it was just me and, like, I think 3 or 4 other girls of just random sizes just trying to beat the crap out of each other. So,
how long had you been training?
I had been training, I think, just for a few months. One of my coaches and training partners, Chris Stearns, had, I think, talked me into competing, and I was like, all right, you compete all the time, so I'll just compete too. And I ended up getting a second, so that was pretty exciting. But it was just a fun experience being with a lot of people from the gym and watching them compete and being able to be a part of that. So
cool.
That's what I enjoy about competing.
Had you watched a competition before, or was it the first time you'd ever seen one? Was when you were
that's the first time I had ever seen one.
Wow, that's cool. What were you like as a blue belt?
I don't know. Probably a little spazzy still, and learning to be more humble and a little bit more willing to tap on time or early. That's something that I've feel like I've had to deal with for a long time. Is that, winning isn't everything. It's just a part of, if you lose, as cheesy as it sounds, I'm sure you've heard this, but if you lose, then you're learning.
Yeah.
Which, a lot of us, I think, for me specifically, don't want to hear that right when I lose a match. But nowadays, I feel like it's, a little bit better than I was in the past. So that's always a good thing.
But with your first competition, that was, you said, a couple months out from when you started, so you were a white belt, and you said it was no-gi only? Is that right?
I think I did no-gi, and then I competed a bit more, and then I had a few competitions as a blue belt. I went down for Worlds when I was a blue belt, and I remember losing my first match. I got judo tossed. I had no idea what had happened to me until after I watched, and I got my closed guard right away, and then just held the closed guard as long as I possibly could for the last 5 minutes while I had every single one of my coaches just yelling at me. And then I remember getting super pissed off after I had lost. I was crying. And then in that competition, that was the first time I had met my coach's coach, Chris Howder. And just me sitting on the floor crying my eyes out. And he told me, it's just you remember how bad this feels. And it was just it seemed like the worst experience, the worst thing that could ever happen to me. And then I finally meet my coach's coach, and he just tells me to remember how this feels. And I was just why is this guy telling me this? This is the worst. But now I understand it. I definitely remember how I felt, and I don't think I've ever felt like that before, ever again.
Yeah, that's a good way to get motivated to train hard for the Europeans in January, right?
Learn from my mistakes and listen to my coaches next time.
Do you think, were you still, you said you played the bottom game a lot early on. As a blue belt, were you still playing a lot of bottom game? Were you able to get on the top?
I tried to do some top stuff, but I didn't. I understood what my posture should look like, but I didn't really know how to pass the guard, or if I did pass, I think I had a hard time staying on top for a long period of time, and also submitting. I feel like I didn't really learn how to pass until a year and a half ago, where I really started to work more of a lot of the leg drags and kind of splitting the legs, passing half guard. And now, if I can start a match on top, I'm going to try my damnedest to stay on top.
Yeah.
And I guarantee that person on bottom is going to have a really, really hard time sweeping me or submitting me. So, and I think I owe a lot of credit to, obviously, my coaches here, but to Preet from Estonia, who's one of our coaches over there. He came and did a seminar and was able to break things down really clearly. And he's an incredibly honest person. So if my posture sucked, he'd be like, Amanda, your posture sucks. Or, Amanda, your guard is like shitty coffee. So I was like, all right, great. I guess I know what I need to work on. So I think being honest with people is a really good thing. You'll improve a little bit quicker instead of sugarcoating things all the time.
Yeah. You say being difficult to sweep is one of the things that you seem to value in your jiu-jitsu game. And when you were a blue belt, and I guess earlier on, you said you couldn't really maintain top position much. What's changed? Like, is it just the time on the playing top, or is it just your posture so much better, or do you have a couple of things that you always keep in mind to prevent the sweep?
I think one of the things that I constantly keep in mind is, like, what would a cat do? Have you tried to sweep a cat? You can't, because they always land back on their feet. And I know it sounds totally cheesy, but
funny.
That's all I think about. It's like, all right, if I can just be a cat on top, then I'm going to be really hard to sweep. Which was kind of depressing, because I will admit, like, when I had my finals match at Worlds, to this day, I still don't know how she was able to sweep me. I feel like I just fell over. But next time I roll with her, I think she's going to have a much harder time. But in any case, if I'm in the gym, I just think about having the best posture possible. So my back is always straight, my shoulders are always back, and I'm always trying to take up as much space as I can, like a glacier. So if I have to take 10 minutes to pass your guard, then I'm going to take 10 minutes. If it takes longer, it takes longer. But patience is key in posture.
A cat-like glacier. That's almost impossible to sweep. I like it.
Thank you.
It's fun. Sweeps are hard because there's so many sweeps that people learn, and then they get good at that, like one or two sweeps, and you have no idea which one they're going to do to you. But just like stay on your feet, like you get knocked over, back on your feet, like right away, and keep that posture. I think that's really neat.
And I think another aspect of that is just you should never settle for the sweep.
Yeah,
you should try your hardest to stand back up. So a lot of butt sprawling stuff, a lot of, if I get back up, I'm making sure that I'm the higher man. I'm always sitting back up and pushing them back over so that, if I am in a tournament, they don't establish those 2 points. They'll probably get an advantage, but it's better than having 2 points and ended up on bottom. So,
yeah, I think people settle for the sweep, and they also settle for the guard pass. Like, you're getting ready to pass my guard, you're close, and then, like, you passed it, and then I, take that deep breath, and dang. And instead of, like, fighting for those couple more seconds and try to stop the pass more, I think people do. And then you knock them over, and they just don't get up the way that they should, like a cat. They don't hop back on their feet.
Yeah, it's important. And I think it's important to understand and notice when you should start setting up for your escaping frames, right? If you know someone's about to pass, it's like, well, there's a certain point in time where you're just like, fuck it, I'm going to have to start framing on that arm. I'm going to have to get my good cross-sides bottom frames or my half-guard frames, whatever it is, so that you can get out a lot quicker than just having them settle for, a really good cross face and then trying to fight from there, or just giving up entirely. I feel like sometimes you see that with some of those real gnarly black belt matches. It's like, they end up getting past and they'll fight for a second. They're just like, well, I guess this is the end of the match. But,
yeah, we were talking about that the other day in class. Like if you know the pass is gonna happen, you need to start getting ready to escape the position before that they cemented the position in, like, totally solid. So do that. Don't just do that big exhale and the frustration. Get ready to escape before it even is all the way there.
I agree.
What are the things you're looking forward to about competing at the black belt level? Besides, I guess, I assume that it'd be easier to get matches.
I hope it'll be easier getting matches. Just being able to, it's a little scary and nerve-wracking for me, being able to eventually compete with these women that I've been watching for the past, 4 or 5 years. So I think, eventually I'll have a match with, I don't know, Michelle Nicolini or someone like that who's just, phenomenal.
Yeah.
But, or Bia or even Gabby Garcia. It's just what am I going to do when I roll with her? I don't know, maybe jump through her legs. I don't know. Maybe I'll just experiment when I'm rolling with her. You never know. But I think, eventually one day I'm definitely going to have matches with those girls, and all I can do is my best. So I'm not going to train any different than I'm training now. I'm not going to change my game to try and, meet theirs, because it doesn't matter. It's just, you just go out there and you do jiu-jitsu, and if you lose, well, then you'll have probably 7 other matches with them in the future. So I think that's exciting.
Yeah. We recently had an interview with Caprito, and he went from brown belt to black belt, and then he won the absolutes at black. He won the absolute at black belt in black belt division. And I asked him like how'd you do that? Like, A, they've been black belts forever, and they're good, and B, like, that's got to be like a really hard mental thing to get around is to compete with these guys. He's like, they just go out there and do what I've been doing. He he made it seem like it was no big deal, but that's an amazing feat to make that jump and then to compete well. But I do think that it's important not to let them, get over on you, like who they are. It is grappling. It's, get your positions and you're going to do great.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. I mean, I went, back and forth talking to my training partner, Lee. It's just like, dude, we're going to have to compete with these girls, and they've been doing it since they were 5 years old, and they've been black belts for 70 years, and it's crazy, and we're going to have to roll with them. And she's just like, well, either we're going to win or we're going to lose.
Yeah.
That's about it. It's just, I think it's a good approach to take, and, just making sure that you leave it all on the mat, and there's no regrets, like, oh, I should have gone a little bit harder, I shouldn't have held back because of, the name that we're rolling with. But it's just a name, it's just a person. So. And
you never know when somebody that you might, you respect them, but you do want to compete with these competitors, and somebody might retire from competition, and you spend another year at brown belt, and you miss that opportunity to get on there and get on the mat and give it a try. So, I think you give yourself more time and more matches with the people that you've watched compete as you've been coming up through the ranks. That's cool.
Yeah, I think it's awesome.
Do you have any tips for a new competitor to develop a game plan?
New tips for a competitor. I think that, we've had for the past couple weeks a few of our guys and gals getting ready to compete at the Revolution up in Tacoma this weekend, and every class they're just like, well, how do I do this move, or how do I do this takedown? And I just have to stop them right there. It's like, don't try to add anything new into your game a couple weeks, or I think even a month before you compete, because all you should be focusing on is what you consider your A game. So if you are constantly doing takedowns and that's what you're really good at, don't go in there and try to pull guard. Do the things that you consider, to be really good at. So also, just general stuff is making sure that you get warmed up enough before you compete. I think that's really important, because that first match you're going to burn a lot of energy, and your adrenaline's going to be pumping, making sure that, you're not gripping on to a sleeve so hard where your forearms burn out. I know you've probably seen that at matches and stuff where the coaches are rubbing their students' forearms.
Yeah.
So
I've never had my forearms burn more than after one, semi-competitive match. It's like, if you're nervous and amped up about it, you're grabbing so hard all the time. It's just crazy. You've got to. You look so calm in your competitions that's got to help a lot. I imagine.
I try not to have any particular face. I don't know, a poker face, I suppose, but I really just don't. And this may sound kind of counterintuitive, but I really try not to work that hard. I want to be really, really good without having to exert too much energy or too much force. I just want to have perfect jiu-jitsu. That's it. I don't want to have to move as fast as those girls, because they're really fast, and that's just that looks like a lot of work to me, and I don't want to have to do that much work. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That sounds a little crazy, but so when I'm, competing, I try to move slowly and efficiently, and making sure that every move I make is absolutely precise, so that I don't make any mistakes, because that's all it takes is one mistake. or one little bit of timing that's off, and then the other person, has the upper hand. So I don't want to play backwards. I always want to be a step or two ahead. So I try to pass that on to my students and our competitors. Is the more relaxed you are, the more you're able to see during your rolls, whether it's, I think, in competition or on the match in general, because when you guys are going so fast, you're just, either you get that tunnel vision, you can't see those other openings.
Yeah. It seems like every time I watch the video of myself competing, it's like, oh man, I could have done this or that. I was not thinking, like, I'm even good at that move. I could have done it, but I was too tunnel visioned and too amped up to see the opportunities when it was there. Let's say a student is still in their first year of training. What would be a good goal for them?
I think it depends on where that particular student is at. I think you have different people coming to the gym for different reasons. A lot of students, either are really concerned with getting their next belt, or they're just doing jiu-jitsu for fun and they're not really concerned with the next belt. I think I think all the time, the people who aren't concerned with their next belt are going to excel faster. If all you're doing this sport for is just, for recognition or for your next belt, you're doing it wrong. Because it's an art. It's something that you should enjoy rolling all the time. Not necessarily all the time, but if I go into the gym and maybe I'm teaching a class and maybe I had a scheduled training or something, but I don't really feel like rolling, then I'm not going to roll. Because I want to enjoy my rolls every time I'm on the mat. So I think, for those beginners, their goals, again, it's different depending on what they want to accomplish, but I think just enjoying every roll and every position. Kind of mentioned that in that little interview, but, whether you're stuck in cross-sides bottom or mount bottom, or you're on top in a really great position, just enjoying every position and finding out, like, those little posture details or those little pressures, like, that's the time to enjoy those little, like, aspects of the game. Discovering new things all the time. So I think that should be a really good goal. And I think if someone's in their first year of jiu-jitsu, they're more so probably going to be working on their defense rather than their offense. So I think building an excellent, defense is better than having an offense first. So a lot of the times in my class, and my students can attest to this, but very rarely will I show a submission. Most of the time I show, always the defense first, whether it's like a mount bottom posture or cross-side bottom posture or whatever it is. Like, those postures I think are more important than, attacking right away. So first-year students, work on your defense, work on your patience, and always tap early. Cool.
That's really good advice. And I like what you said earlier on about don't worry about the belt. Like, if your goal isn't to get the next belt, it's to have fun, get better, and work on, like you said, work on your defense and the positions and posture. I think that's really good.
Yeah, I mean, at our gym we've had, people that have been white belts for 10 years or blue belts for 10 years, and it is what it is. We're not just going to give you a belt because you've been coming to the gym for such and such time straight. It's earned. It's not just for attendance or because this person is, 75 years old. We're just like, we should probably just give him a purple belt. Like, no, Coach Matt will give out a belt if he deems it, earned. So that's the cool thing about our gym is that if someone is given a belt, then they have earned that belt. It's not just given to them just for the heck of it.
Yeah, that's cool. And then that shows the importance of the belt.
Yeah.
You teach quite a bit of classes. What are some traits that you see in a student that makes you think that they're going to catch on and do well in jiu-jitsu?
Because there's so many different types of students that we have. It's not always the incredibly athletic students that pick on jiu-jitsu really fast. It could be that person that's like, a Dungeons and Dragons player that has never, a person that's never done like any physical activity in their whole life, and all of a sudden they decided that, they wanted to try jiu-jitsu because they heard about it, or sometimes those people learn the quickest because they don't have necessarily an ego. I know everyone has an ego, but you really show your true self when you're on the mat.
Yeah.
I think that's, I kind of, there's some people that I like to say it's like they have like split mat personality where they're super nice off the mat, and then when you roll with them, you're just like, God, this guy's such a dick. Like, what is up? And then afterwards, it's like, hey, really great. Oh my God, you're just a completely different person. So I look for those people that are, I guess, more consistent all the way around. So they're really nice on the mat. They can learn, and they're really nice off the mat. They're asking questions, and they're just really, legitimately interested about jiu-jitsu. It's like, really new and awesome to them, but it stays like that for a long period of time. And I think those people are going to excel.
Yeah, that's big. And like you said earlier with the ego thing, there's a lot to letting your ego kind of go in jiu-jitsu, and then it will carry on. For me, anyways, carry on off the mat. But like at the end of the class, if somebody wants to roll an extra round, a lot of people don't, because half the class is standing around watching the people rolling, and then the guys or gals that are rolling are tired, and usually some of the more advanced students are going to roll. They're going to be tough rolls. And an advanced student with a newer student who's not tired at all, that might not be fun for the advanced guy. But let the ego go and get the extra rolls in, and keep training, and have, like you said before, like, have fun with it. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that the beautiful thing about jiu-jitsu is that you're not only, I think, kind of technically competing with your partner, but I think a lot of times you're kind of competing with yourself in a way, because you always want to get better. And for myself particularly, I think I'm incredibly critical on my game, or just my, myself in general. Like sometimes I feel like, gosh, I should have already figured this out by now, or, what's going on. But like you said, it's that ego battle. And, unless you're sick or injured or, I don't know, just can't roll, you should always be rolling. I think that's one of the things that, Coach Matt had said, I think a month ago or something. It's just like, you guys should always be on the mat. If you have an opportunity to roll, with someone, your belt level or higher, like, take that opportunity. And then, always roll with, people that are lower belts than you. And if, and if you're tired, then that doesn't matter. You should keep rolling, because if you're so concerned with losing, then maybe that's the time where you need to roll. It's just, you don't have to roll hard all the time. So, I mean, that's something to take into account. It's like,
yeah,
you're going to have those new students that are going to want to roll hard. But, if you're staying nice and calm and relaxed, and hopefully maybe they'll pick up on that, whether people are watching or not.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Exactly. Would you like to give out like a Facebook page, or any way people can get a hold of you?
Yeah, I have a couple. I have my regular Facebook page that's just Amanda Loewen, and then I have an athlete page that's also just under Amanda Loewen, just like an athlete sports page. So I try to post stuff on there. I mean, most of the posts that I put on there are just jiu-jitsu stuff. So I'm trying to be better about keeping up with social media, but I don't know. I'm not that great about posting new articles or videos all the time. But when I do, then I'll stick them on there for you guys.
Yeah, but it's, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see you go in January to Europe, and that would be go by and like the page, and that way you can keep up and see how you do.
Oh, for sure, yeah. I'll post results and, visiting all the gyms over there and stuff. So we'll be posting training sessions, and I think I'll be able to get a good training session in at a few different gyms, like I said, in Ireland, in Manchester, in Portugal, all those places. So
cool.
I'm really excited about that.
Do you have any sponsors that you'd like to mention?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Phenom Gis for the couple gis that she sent me. They're awesome. Yeah, just really excited to have a little bit more, I guess, recognition, I suppose is the correct word, but just really appreciative of all the people that have helped me get where I am and continue to support me. So
cool.
It's really exciting.
You have a couple of Phenom Gis. Which one's your favorite one?
Well, I currently really like the navy blue one that she sent me. It's just a real basic design. It has the F on the sleeves, and that's about it. I'm all about simplicity. I don't like too many patches and all that kind of stuff. So
cool.
It's a nice women's fit gi.
I'll put a link to Phenom Gi and then your Facebook page as well on the show notes there for everybody to find easily.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for giving us the interview on the podcast. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it was my pleasure.
All right, we'll talk to you later. Have a good day.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, that wraps up our interview with Amanda Loewen. It was good to talk with her and hear such a... it's amazing how fast somebody could do that, but she does Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu all the time, and that's what she does.
Yeah, I mean, you're spending, your whole day on it, something she really loves, and you're gonna progress a lot faster than other people.
Yeah, and she was competing very well at the brown belt division, and she's really excited about getting on the mat with those black belts. So that's cool for her.
And then having Matt Thornton's basically one of the best instructors in the world.
Yeah.
So that definitely helps a lot there too.
Yep. It's good to hear the training philosophies that they have out there and get those, get some advice from them again. Like I said, if you've she's Matt Thornton's student, and we did interview Matt Thornton on episode 51. If you missed that, go back and check it out. It's a real good interview. Next week, we have a brown belt named Joe Selecki. Real good brown belt. He actually just won a super fight a couple days back.
Congrats, Joe.
Yep, really good job. And this is a fun interview. He made me laugh. He's a lot of good advice. So that's a real fun one. And we also have a quote from Amanda. So there we go.
Tune in next week. And also go back and check out episode 51, Matt Thornton.
Giving you a lot of stuff to do here, I guess.
This is your homework.
If it'd be easier for you, or you want to be on our email list, if it's easier for you to get the episode emailed to you so you don't forget about it, go on Facebook or on the website, and there's a place to put in your email and name, and we'll send you the a link to the episode every week. It's automatic, so I can't forget to do that, so it just does it on its own. Pretty nice.
That's sweet.
We do have gi patches that are available. If you want to, Gary, man, I'm so lazy on this whole. I'm not a good internet guy.
You're a good internet guy.
I don't know how to hook up to where people could buy gi patches, so we have to give them away. We sold a few locally, which is nice, but thanks for the support for the people that listen locally. But if you want a gi patch, if you write a funny 5-star review or a funny review, and hopefully we get 5 stars on iTunes, we'd be happy to send you one out. Write the review, email us at bjjbrick@gmail.com, and we'll be happy to get with you and get your information and get one sent out to you.
Yeah, and definitely send us an email to let us know it was you.
Yep.
And then we'll get your address and get that out to you.
We do have a new review, Gary.
Oh, let's hear it.
This is from Billingsley. Really good interviews. He says our name is odd, which I gave him credit on that. Yes, that's true. He says we come up with really relevant questions versus just asking, the plain questions that I don't know who he thinks does that, but he says we ask good questions and it's fun. And sometimes our banter gets a little off topic, but that's okay.
Oh, I'm glad he we do get off topic, and I think that's mostly my fault.
Well, we both do a little bit of that. But, hey, we're people, man.
Yeah,
we're here to have fun. If we're not having fun, we're not going to be doing this podcast.
Yeah, definitely. That's true. It's just like jiu-jitsu. You got to have fun, or we want to be doing jiu-jitsu.
That's right, man.
Yeah.
So we do have gi patches available, and, just send us an email after you do a review, and we'll be happy to help you out there. Get you something to show that you listen to the show.
And definitely, once you do get your gi patch, definitely send us a picture of it. Send us a picture of that gi patch on your gi, on the mat, or anywhere. We'll put it up on our page there.
Yeah. Yep. Like we already said, our email, bjjbrick@gmail.com. That's where you would send it. Or on our Facebook Messenger is easy. Gary, are you nervous, man?
Nervous? I'm prepared.
He's prepared. Like the article said, be prepared for whatever is going to happen, right?
Yeah, I just realized that, the guy sending the question is probably just as nervous as I am.
Okay. This week, we have our Ask Gary a Question segment of the week here. We do it at the end of the show because if it's not your thing, you just whatever. You can move on to the next episode. But I'm feeling people will love this segment here, Gary. I don't know that's a fact, but if we're getting questions in, they got to dig it, man.
Somebody's listening.
So our buddy Kevin sent us this message. And he says, Gary.
Hi, Kevin.
I'm sure he says hi back. What can I do about the area between the seats in his car, in the center console there? Either that's where his dang phone is, his keys, pins, 75 cents, whatever. It's like a black hole in his car. What do you do about that? What do you have for tips to defend this trap?
You know, we've all run into that situation, and I can tell you the coolest thing is when you haven't cleaned out your car in a while and you reach under that front seat and you find yourself 75 cents, and then you realize you only need like a 34 more cents and you can get a quick trip hot dog. So it's always good there. But
getting a gas station hot dog.
Yeah, nothing better than a gas station hot dog. But yeah, you wouldn't believe the stuff you can find underneath your seat that you lost a long time ago.
Stuff that's not even you didn't even know you had.
You didn't even know you had, you know. And sometimes you'll even find a French fry from over a year old that now you could almost use it as a shank.
You could almost use it as a French fry.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that.
Because they don't get old.
But no matter what, I mean, just the way cars are made, we'd have to redo the whole car. You know, if we don't want that to happen.
Oh, yeah, to not happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to happen. I mean, unless we just made one long bench seat with no
a large bench seat in the front. Gary, you're brilliant, man. That's all we need right there.
I think we could just take, that's a good idea.
Just call the car companies and tell them.
Just take the two front seats out and just put just get a long piece of wood, thick, and nail it in there, and then take a back piece and nail it there so there's no creases.
There you go.
Yep.
Problems. You
got that, Kevin? Yeah.
So if you want to send Gary a question, bjjbrick@gmail.com, or you do like our friend Kevin did and just send us a message on Facebook, and hopefully I see it before Gary does.
Kevin's probably going to defriend us after that one, after that answer.
That was a great answer. All I got to say is, I snack a lot in my car, and occasionally when I go under the corner seat, I see, there's peanuts and M&Ms down there.
Yeah.
It's always nice. They're usually too old to eat very many of them.
Yeah. But, I mean, I to be honest, I've actually just found a pocket knife that I lost a long time ago.
There you go.
Yep. You always find pens. You'll always find a pen there. Maybe
you'll have enough money under your seat to get you a cold pop.
Yeah. Yep. Or a gas station hot dog.
All right. Thanks, Kevin. We'll catch you guys next week. We have a great interview with Joe Selecki.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening. I hope you find the time today to roll. After all, the best way to get better at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.